Welcome to the Exceptional Sales Leader Podcast with Darren Mitchell. If you're a sales leader looking to take your leadership to a whole new level, then this is the podcast for you. We'll be exploring tips, techniques, and strategies to help you take your leadership to the exceptional level and allow you to enjoy more money, more meaning, and better sales results. Welcome back to the Exceptional Sales Leader Podcast, and welcome to a man coming in from Tampa, Florida. And it is Thursday evening as we speak, Friday morning here in Australia. Mr. Neil Reich, all the way from Tampa. Welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you, Darren Mitchell. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm honored that you invited me on the show. So thank you.
No, I appreciate that. And thank you for using my full name, because you're the first person in over 800 episodes that actually refer to my full name.
All right. I'm the first one. That's great.
So just in case people who are listening to this don't know who I am, it's Darren Mitchell, not just Darren from the Exceptional Sales Leader Podcast. Sounds funny. So Neil, hey, we've had a bit of a chat before we press record, and you've got a fairly extensive background in sales, business building, and predominantly in the healthcare space. Love to talk about your approach to sales and a little bit about your story. And I always like to start with a bit of background in terms of what have you done in your career that's led you to now be the CEO and founder of Care Connect Advisors. If you can just give us
Sure.
a little bit of a Reader's Digest version, and if there's any like little challenges and road bumps along the way, more than happy for you to share that as well.
Sure thing. Yeah, 27 years, there's been a few challenges and road bumps and setbacks. But I've had a really exceptional, career. Fortunate. I've been around a lot of great mentors and leaders and learned a lot from them, and they invested in my development, my personal and professional development. I worked for Humana Insurance Company for 13 years. They invested a lot in their growth and development of their people, and was very fortunate to be part of their organization for 13 years. And again, mentors there, and a lot of my mentors. Fred Wheeler's a pioneer in the Medicare Advantage business world. He passed away a few years ago, but I look at him as a mentor, and him and others were always like challenge me to grow personally and read books. And John Maxwell, I read a lot of John Maxwell books. So like my leadership style was like servant leadership, and I come from like John Maxwell. Tony Robbins is another one, but 13 years at Humana, and Humana is one of the leaders in the country in Medicare Advantage sales, and that's what I do today. And I was the number one sales agent for Humana in 1999, which led to me getting promoted as a sales manager. And I served in that capacity for a few years. And then Fred Wheeler at Humana had a vision to take Humana from a regional company to a national player with the advent of Medicare Part D, which is a federal drug program here in the States. Mm-hmm. That happened in 2006. So we went national. We went 50 states in 2005, and I was promoted to a national sales manager and traveled the country and helped lay the foundation to Humana's independent broker sales channel. Did that for 3 years till 2008. I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and I was Humana's state director for Georgia for 3 years. Left Humana in 2011, and in 2012 started a value-based care organization called Physicians Group Alliance. Mm-hmm. And that's a healthcare delivery model for Medicare beneficiaries that is really focused on wellness and quality and prevention. And it's more about being preventive and helping people stay healthy rather than reacting and treating, illnesses as they occur. It's preventing them. So I was a managing partner and owner of Physicians Group Alliance. My partner, William Steele, and we owned that till 2016. We sold that in 2016. And then I joined a company called Heartland Financial Group in 2018. To launch their Medicare Advantage vertical, and worked. Actually, they had a gentleman already working there named Brandon Clay, another great leader and mentor, and to this day a great friend of mine. And he and I worked together and grew Heartland's Medicare sales vertical, and we took that from really zero sales to over 40,000 sales a year, and then that positioned Heartland to be acquired by Integrity Marketing Group, which is the largest, most influential marketing organization in the industry here in the States. And Heartland sold to them in 2022, late 2022. And then I decided to start my own agency, Care Connect, in March of 2024. So I
Hmm.
resigned and left Heartland in early 2024, started the agency in March, early April of 2024. And it's, I love doing what I do.
And you've added value in every organization you've been in, but a couple of key points that I want to draw people's attention to as you were talking there is you mentioned a number of mentors, mentioned a number of people, and it's really interesting that the most successful people are very, very clear on who they surround themselves with and who they choose to allow into their environment that they can learn from. And
Yeah.
so when you think about your success, because I do want to also talk about maybe it was the 2016 sale that didn't actually go through as planned.
Yeah, it did not. Yeah. So,
but
yeah,
but but if you think
that was a
about
setback.
before I ask you a question about that, the importance of surrounding yourself with good mentors who are there to pour into you, not there to suck the life out of you and get what they want out of you. How has that helped form and frame your approach to leadership, building businesses, and particularly in sales, which often is considered to be a dog eat dog type environment, all in for yourself, but you've taken a completely different approach.
Yeah, Darren, that's a great question, and I think a really important point, right? I said earlier I've been really fortunate, and I was. I mean, going to work for Humana and getting to introduce to Fred Wheeler and Jim Van Balen and Patrick O'Toole, great leaders, and they saw potential in me, and they invested in me and encouraged me to invest in myself, and having the fortune to be exposed to them and introduced to them, and to your point, like, man, there's so many organizations out there and people out there today in the business world that, like you just said, like, still just suck it out of you. Like, they'll
Yeah.
just give me everything you got, give me, and they invested into me, they shared with me, they gave me insight, they gave me intelligence, they challenged me to grow. And it's interesting that you asked that question, because I was there's a I work out every just about every day, and I go to the gym. I do some weights and I do cardio. When I'm doing cardio, I watch YouTube. I'm typically watching someone that's motivational,
Yeah.
Tony Robbins. I like to watch a lot of Tony Robbins, John Maxwell,
Yeah.
and recently been watching this gentleman named Patrick Bet David, who has a podcast called Valuetainment, and he was just talking about that the other day, just talking about being conscious, and he was delivering an episode to really geared towards like young men, like a mentorship young men kind of a program that day.
Mm.
And he's like, be conscious of who you surround yourself with,
Yeah.
right? Like, be conscious of whose bus you get on, and then who you let on your bus, right? Because you're going to get on someone's bus, I mean, make sure you're getting on the right person's bus,
Yeah.
and that person should be someone that's going to lift you up, that's going to pull
Mm.
you up, right? So they're pulling you up. There's others, your peers are with you, and they're lifting you up. Be on that bus, and then eventually you're going to find yourself on your own bus. And then when you're on your own bus, be really conscious of who you let on your bus.
Mm.
And I think that's really just wise, guidance, and really, really a good rule to kind of share with young people, and life, and business, and in life.
Mm.
And for me, I just kind of, like, when he was saying that, just resonated with me, because I've meant that was me. Like, I've lived that, and I was very fortunate to be exposed to that at Humana. Um, and you asked also, like, so that's what I've been exposed to and experienced, and how did that shape me? So how it shaped me is, like, that's what I do now. Like, when I'm leading, and I was telling that to someone earlier today, it's like when I first went to Heartland, and I was talking about Fred Wheeler,
Mm.
and because this person I was talking to, we were just talking about, like, a morning routine, right? And one of the things that, as you're going through your morning routine, you talk, you be careful of your I ams, the I ams. You could say, I am tired, I am exhausted, I am overworked. You could, and then
Yeah.
if you say those things out loud, you become that.
Yes.
Or you could say, hey, I am great.
Yeah.
I am ready for the day. I am going to accomplish great things today. It's like, those I ams are really important, to be mindful of the I ams that you say out loud about
Mm.
yourself, right? And I was telling her, I was like, I remember, like, going to, when I first went to Heartland, I was like, I'm Fred Wheeler. Like, I'm the Fred Wheeler of Heartland here, because in my opinion, when I watched Fred Wheeler operate, like for me, he was like this man like willed things to happen. He's like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, and this, and it's like, man, that's a big lift right there. But
Yeah.
like we did it, and we did it through his leadership. And I felt like when I went to Heartland, like I was doing that same thing. I was like, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna go out there, and we're gonna accomplish. Here's the things we're gonna do, and here's how we're gonna do it, and so to kind of answer your question, I mean, those experiences, the people that I was, around and learned from,
Mm.
I adopted a lot of those the approaches and mentalities. And, I try to read a book every month, and that's what Fred Wither was a big reader, and Jim
Yeah.
Van Down, another, big proponent of reading. And it's like, and I got away from it for a while. And then at Care Connect, about 8 months ago, we started the Book of the Month Club. I'm like, I got to get back to reading a book every month, because got so busy with growing the agency. Like, I launched the Book of the Month Club, and my team loves it. Like, I get such, and it's, it's optional. They don't have to participate in it, but
Yeah.
90% of the people that are at the company are doing it. Like every Tuesday morning we do it.
Well, and what's interesting about that is that it may be, and people might think, well, it's not directly linked to what they do on a daily basis for the company, but it actually is, because it's helping build confidence, it's helping to build competency, it's helping to share, it's build collaborations, building relationships. It's almost like the metaphorical breaking bread together, but we're actually doing it over a book. And so we've got
Yes,
something in common, and that just builds camaraderie. It can build a great culture, which is
absolutely.
phenomenal.
Yeah, it's been wonderful, and the feedback from everyone has just been sensational as well.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did it. Yeah.
I love that. And as you were talking, I was actually walking this morning with my dog Millie, and we go for a bit of a 7 kilometer or 10 mile walk every day. Then I'm not facilitating, and I was listening. Tony Robbins was on a podcast with Lewis House, the ex athlete, and he was talking about mindset and the eyes and being surrounding yourself and thinking. Your thinking is actually formed by the environment, and being very, very conscious of what you feed into your mind, and being very conscious of the people you allow into your inner circle as well, because you associate with people who don't read books. Pretty soon you're not going to read books. If you associate with people who do a lot of drinking and maybe not a lot of exercise, then pretty soon you're going to be a replication of that as well. So having some
Absolutely.
intention around that is really important.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, just to delve into the story, because a little bit of the brief that I was given was that you sold your organization in 2015/2016, and it didn't go up according to plan. So,
Yeah.
and I'll let you tell the story, but just reading about it, it probably for most people could have left them, I wouldn't say destitute, but it could have for some people, but in a position where, why am I doing this? What's this all been for? How would you describe that time? And what was one of the key lessons that you learnt from that time that's enabled you to propel forward and continue to do what you do today?
Yeah. So, and that's, I was our value-based care organization, Physicians Group Alliance. My partner, William Steele, and I, we grew that. We sold it in 2000, like I said, 15, really carried into 2016. And the organization that bought it from us, it was called Hygieia Holdings Corporation out of Miami, Florida. And they paid us some of the money. And then we had terms on getting the payouts over the course of the coming couple of years. And the first payout date came and went, and they didn't pay. And then it was like, hey, we're going to be 30 days late. And then 30 days. I mean, it was just push, 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 push. And then when we were about 7 months, so away from the first payment and already missed the second payment, we filed a lawsuit against them, and then they countersued us, and then that was tied up in the court for years and hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees. And after 2 years of that, they filed bankruptcy.
Wow.
And during that process, you asked about like lessons learned. Like during that process, we found out that they did the same thing to 15 other people,
Wow.
organizations. So there was like 16 of us that had claims in bankruptcy court with the state. So we didn't get it. We didn't get anything out of it, anything additional out of it. So I think that from a lesson learned, you know, you get curveballs in life, right? And you have like you really have two choices. Like you can focus on it, and you can let it negatively impact you, or you can, brush yourself off and like, okay, I learned from that.
Mm.
I'm not gonna do a deal where I'm getting a payout. Um, and it's and someone asked me before, like, about, the having a contract and doing this. Like, we had attorneys, we had contracts, we had agreements. I mean, we did our diligence. They did their diligence on us. Um, and just, sometimes there's some people that are just not really good people.
Yeah.
And just looking at the whole construction of their company, man, it was just somewhat of like, a shell game. It was like they was
Yeah.
just moving a lot of money around. Um, so after that happened, like, we sold, and then William and I actually went to Athens, Georgia. That was in Atlanta, Georgia. We had a non-compete, like, 50-mile radius. We went to Athens, Georgia, started buying some more practices. But when they came into, like, didn't pay us, I told my partner, I'm like, I have to go back to work.
Mm.
Like, I've been spending my life savings on investing in the growth of this organization. Now we've had our payout and we didn't get our payout. Like,
Yeah.
I got to go back to work. And that's when I went to work for Heartland. Um, and for me, it was like that. I was so financially set back from that experience. It's like, I just hit the ground running at heart. Like, I gotta go make it up.
Yeah.
And it just kind of ignited me and kind of lit a fire, inside of me. It's like there's a book called Choose Your Enemies Wisely,
Yeah.
and your enemies are the things that fuel you.
Mm.
And for me, internally, like that, those guys were an enemy, and they just fueled me to go out there and just give it my all every single day after that.
So people listening to this might think, wow, that's really tough. And they might be placing themselves in a situation similar to that. When you're actually in that, where you say, hey, I've put my life savings into this, they haven't paid up. It now appears like they're not an ethical organization filled, they're not filled with ethical people, because you mentioned some people are just not good people.
Yeah.
How do you get yourself through each day? Because for me, look and sound, it sounds like that could be for many people overwhelming. And you think, shit, what do I do now? What am I going to get done? What can I do? Can you describe, and maybe it's a lot of the books and a lot of the experience and a lot of the mentors you had. Was there any time there where you're thinking, why? Why did this happen to me?
You know what? So I've been asked that question before, and I never did. I never felt like it was, it was. No, I never felt like, hey, why? Like, why me? Like, I didn't. It was, hey, it happens. I mean, understanding that these things
Yeah.
happen in life, these things happen in business.
Yeah.
Business deals go south, and and
Mm.
and it, for me, it was, like I said, choose your enemies wisely. Like, for me, they just turned into an enemy, and it just fueled me. And I think that a really important lesson for anyone listening, young or old, or in business or not in business, but just, focus on the things that you can control.
Yeah.
It's like, it could really, if I focused on them, if I put my energy and effort and focus on them, and to your point, like, why me? What, these guys are terrible. Why do they do this? Why did this happen to me? It's like, that could just drag you down.
Yeah.
Right. And it's out of your control. It's like, you have no
Mm.
control. What you have control over is how you react to it. And,
Yeah.
you can, my reaction was, okay, I got to go kill it now. Like, I'm going to go kill it. Yeah.
I love that. So focus on what you control, because there's a lot of stuff that happens in our life and in our business and in our environment that we actually don't have any control over. But what we do have control over is the choices we make in terms of how we respond to what's happening to us. And if you
Yeah.
think
It's like
about
that old,
that,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead. Keep
Oh,
going.
yeah, I was just going to say, what can you do today? What can you do this moment? What can you do right now to at least make progress to moving forward, to taking that one step?
Absolutely.
From that perspective, then let's talk about sales and your background of sales and your approach to sales. Because I believe that sales not only is the ultimate form of service, but it's also one of the most fulfilling professions you can ever get involved in. And whilst a lot of people out there think of sales as not being ethical, I tend to think it's one of the most ethical environments you can be in. Yes, there are some bad people out there, but there's a lot of really good people who are there to serve. If you look back on that time and certainly how you've projected forward and what you're doing today, how important was your I guess, your sales method, your approach, your mindset around sales and getting out there and being creative again, tying in with the things you do have control over?
Yes, sir. And again, I love that question. And I remember when I first started at Humana. So I got my insurance license in 1990. I did P&C for like the first 7 years. I joined Humana in 97. When I first started at Humana, and this is again, this is whatever, 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago. HMOs were like there was this stigma around like HMO plans, right? And it was a fairly new concept in the healthcare. So Humana didn't have a great reputation as because it was a Medicare HMO plan, and so it wasn't looked at like, hey, you're going to go work for Humana. They're a great company. You're doing a great thing. And it's like, there was other insurance agencies in the state of Florida that were sold other life products, Medicare supplement products, and Humana was kind of like, you guys are like whatever. You're not us. Like we're better than you. And when I went there and started to work with seniors and serve them, and find myself sometimes leaving a house and the consumer that I just worked with, they were in tears because I saved them $400 a month in their drug costs.
Yeah.
Because those Medicare Advantage plans, they give drugs, the co-pays are $5 instead of the medication costing $100, and
Yeah.
you save people a couple $100 a month. Seniors that are on a fixed income is like, wow, now I can buy groceries. It's like
Yeah.
that was so rewarding to me. It wasn't even the money that I was making. It was like that interaction, that experience was so rewarding and gratifying to me, just to be able to help seniors and serve them within a really important part of their life. Because when you get 65 and older, that's when Medicare starts. 65, that's when you need healthcare. Like that's when you're starting to have your knee replacement surgeries and hip replacements, and you buy medications, you're going to the doctor, and all those illnesses and ailments start to happen as you get older. So you need it.
Mm.
So it's a really important aspect to them, and being able to serve them. And you ask like some of the things I learned then that we still use today. It's like, and I was just talking to someone about this a couple of weeks ago, like the needs analysis, and Humana does a great training on sitting down and with the senior and going through a needs analysis. And they spell it NEADS, needs analysis. N is what do you have now? So what do you have now for your healthcare?
Yeah.
E is enjoy. So basically, what do you like about your plan? A is alter. So what would you change about the plan that you have right now? Is there something you would like to add to it? D is decision maker, and then S is like summary. It's like that. I learned that in 1997, and that I still teach that today,
Yeah.
and it's relevant and it works.
Mm.
And matter of fact, when I was at Integrity Marketing, after Heartland sold to Integrity Marketing Group, I was on their health advisory committee that had a meeting like once a month. I remember them sharing with us that Integrity Marketing Group did a case study on Medicare Advantage sales over the phone, and they found that agents that asked two questions: "What do you like about your plan?" and "What you don't like about your plan?" close at a 20% higher rate than those that don't ask those same two questions. Like I learned that 25 years ago. It's still relevant and still works today. So it's
It,
amazing.
it's such an important point. And unfortunately, a lot of salespeople overlook that. Because when they do a needs analysis, they're doing a needs analysis from the perspective of how do I find a need that I can fit my product into that need, or create a need so I can retrofit my product and make a sale, because it makes it all about them. A colleague of
Yes.
mine talks about a very similar concept where you do some analysis and it's almost like this closing architecture where you're trying to find out what does your prospect or potential customer love about the environment, the organization they're working with currently, and what could they change about it. It's nothing about my product, because my product may not actually be a relevant fit for you. So I love the
Yes.
fact that it's not about selling, it's about guiding, it's about serving. If there's a match, I'm sure you'd actually put a solution in front of them. And like you just mentioned, seniors for example, might be able to save 200, 300, in this case, $400 a month, to say, hey, that's a solution. They get something, you get something, but it's not a sale. It's
Yes,
it's
sir.
it's being of service.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And that's when I chose the name of my agency, Care Connect Advisors. I took my time really in doing that. I used advisors because we're advisors. We're not sales. We're not selling. And
Mm.
to your point, like and my everyone that works with us and for us, they know this. Like we will walk away from a sale. If we go through our needs analysis and we identify that the plan that they're on is the right plan for their personal needs, you congratulate them and let them know that the plan that they're on is the right plan for them. And then you also tell them that if another agent comes along after I leave and tries to put you on a different plan, don't do it. Like you're on the right plan. This is the right plan for you. So, I chose Care Connect advisors because we're advising, we're guiding them, and we're going through that needs analysis, and we're patient with them as we're doing, because we care about them. So we're going to be patient with them, and we're going to connect them with the plan that's right for their personal needs.
Mm. I love that. And for people listening, I don't want them to overlook what you just said. Because essentially what you're saying there is when you're a trusted advisor, you're giving the best advice based on the circumstance of the current prospect or customers in, where they want to head, what they want to achieve, and that may actually not result in you generating a sale.
That's right.
But understand what it does do. It actually plants the seed of trust and credibility in the eyes of the customer for you, so that if their circumstances do change, guess who the first person they're going to call is?
It's us. You're right, and that's that's the intent, right? So, and that's what we train all of our people. We want to be that trusted advisor.
Mm.
Like we want to the brand. Like for me, in terms of like going on podcasts like this and others about branding Care Connect advisors, like we want to brand ourselves as a trusted advisor that consumers, Medicare beneficiaries can lean on to help them with their healthcare choices.
Mm.
And that's the mission and vision of our company.
And when you think about that, Neil, because you're also really big on the power of referrals and how they can be almost the lifeblood of a business. I mean, there's a lot of businesses out there that probably couldn't survive just on referrals because they've got to do a lot of outbound marketing and outreach and stuff like that. But the importance of referrals, particularly in the space that you operate in, because you've only got your reputation as an individual and therefore by default your organization. You mentioned that your next best client may actually come from a completely different business or another customer, which is what we're just talking about. That if you're being of service, you're going to leave an impression upon a person, a couple, an organization potentially that you may not benefit directly from them, but you'll benefit from somebody else because of how you've made that person or that couple feel. Can you just talk a little bit about, is there any specific philosophy you've built into Care Connect around that?
Yes.
And I guess another question that's just popped into my head is, would you consider yourselves being advisors first, or do you still consider yourself to be a sales organization?
You know what? No one's asked me that question, and I hadn't thought about it. So I think that I would still say we're advisors first. I mean,
Yeah.
that's to me that's really it's really important for us as an organization, for me as a leader and my people to view us in that regard, right? So we're advisors first, and as it relates to referrals, and one when I launched Care Connect in March of 2024.
Mhm.
Initially I was going to just really build field sales distribution, agents working in the field that were, some were W-2 to us, some were 1099, mostly 1099 brokers. But my partner and I actually made a decision 90 days into the business, like, hey, we're gonna get people to sell over the phone, which is something I never had done before. So I spent like 9 months like focusing on just building infrastructure, hiring people, interviewing, hiring people to sell over the phone. And it kind of took away a little bit of focus on some of the things I want to build in terms of like that being that advisor and that referral base.
Yeah.
Um, because and we're actually building that now. So as it relates to that, like that advisor mentality and that referral base is like strategically aligning us. So our aligning Care Connect advisors strategically aligning us with physician groups that also serve the same consumers that we serve in demographic,
Yeah.
financial advisors and planners that have clients that are on Medicare. And I know that those financial advisors, because they tell us, they get questions from their clients all the time about Medicare, and they don't know, they know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Um, P&C agencies, the same thing. So identifying strategic partners within the communities that we work, and we're building that out right now. We've already started approach where I have a call with a physician group tomorrow. I've got a call with a physician group on Monday, and we're getting strategically aligned to work with them on helping to educate. And that goes back to the advisor part. We're going to be running seminars and webinars that are not even sales for us, sales focused. They are just education about the importance of value-based care, which I owned and operated, Physicians Group Alliance, value-based
Yeah.
care. It's a really important model. And we are going to be aligned with those physician groups, and we're going to be educating consumers about the importance of value-based care, because what they do, their core business, is helping seniors that have chronic diseases manage those chronic diseases.
Mm.
So diabetes, heart disease, COPD, whatever chronic disease they have, it's a preventive approach to improve the quality of life and more frequent visits to their provider, to keep them healthy, eliminate ER visits, and improve the quality of life and help them live longer. So
Mm.
that's a strong referral base for us, but also just a strategic partner. And then again, serving our communities that we have representation in, and educating consumers about the importance, because a lot of consumers don't even know about value-based care. They've never, we're all in America, we're all kind of accustomed to what's called the fee-for-service model, where we go to the doctor's office, and it's a 2.5 hour day, and you get 15 minutes with the doctor. I mean, that's
Yeah.
what it is. It's the travel time there, it's the wait time in the waiting room, it's the wait time in the exam room for the doctor. You get 5 or 10 minutes with the nurse, you get 10 minutes with the doctor to give you a script, and you're kind of on your way. Um, and value-based care is just a different approach. And kind of getting back to my days at Humana, and again, like something I learned 25 years ago that's still relevant today in terms of referral, is that and we have an approach with a 30, 60, 90-day callback to our clients. And that's a referral base, but it's also really good for retention as well. So,
Mm.
30 days after we help them make the right choice, 30 days later, we call them, make sure they got their ID card in the mail, help them plan their annual wellness visit to their primary care doctor. If that program or that plan offers a mail order pharmacy program, we talk about that. Did you get enrolled in the mail order pharmacy program? They'll mail your medications right to your door. 60 days, we call again. Hey, do you have any, doctor visits coming up? Do you need help maybe getting a referral? Do you need help with transportation? And then, 90 days again, we do another call, and just, hey, we're just checking back, making sure everything's okay. Are you running, when you're taking the time to do those things, and every time we make those calls, we're also asking if you know anybody else that could benefit from the same plan that you're on, we'd be glad to sit down and meet with them and help them explain the benefits of your plan to them as well. And then we do one more every September on Medicare Advantage plans. The Medicare Advantage plans are filed by the health plan with the federal government for a calendar year. So they change every year. So that's what we're going through right now. We're going through the annual enrollment period where people make changes or decisions today, and their
Mm.
plan goes into effect in January. And in September of every year, the carriers are required to send out what's called the annual notice of change to consumers to let them know what changes are going to occur in the coming year.
Yeah.
So that's another time that we get in contact with all the members in September, walk them through their annual notice of change, make sure that they're good with their plan. So that again helps with referrals, helps with retention.
I love that. I've got a big philosophy that I always say to sales teams, and some of them think, "Oh, that's too hard." I said, "No, it's not." And that is, the sale doesn't actually begin until after the sale is made. So as you were talking about 30-day, 60-day, 90 days, you may not be selling new products, but what you're doing is you're actually keeping connections because your sale's already been made. You're actually, as you say, building connections and building retention strategies. Not that you're doing it to serve you, you're doing it because it's the right thing to do, because everything we do is based on integrity. But that will have an indelible impact on your ability to retain customers and build customer loyalty.
Absolutely, 100%. It's
Love it.
great. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you also, Neil, as you were talking, because you mentioned about recruiting people, getting them to sell by phone, whether you're going to do a contractor sort of setup for the business, or whether you're going to have employees and so forth. Some thoughts on building a team, and certainly building a business from scratch, building a sales organization from scratch. Over your career, have you been very specific on the characteristics that you want to see in an ideal salesperson? Take away things like personality, but some innate qualities that you think um, help them become a great servant and a great trusted advisor in the industry that you operate in.
Yeah. So for me, one thing that I've definitely recognized in my 27 years in the industry, and a lot of that time has been in leadership and recruiting people and training people, is that I see a very similar connection of people that are top sales people, and whether it's my industry or any industry, top salespeople, and like people that have an athletic, like a background in sports.
Okay.
I think that, and I have a background in sports. I mean, I played college football and baseball, but I think that you learn a lot from being involved in sports. You
Yep.
know, teamwork, responsibility, accountability, discipline. Like those are really pillars for me. Those are really pillars that that are needed to be successful in sales. Because when you're in sales, I mean, you can make as much as you want or as little as you need, right? I mean, it's you have the ability to go out and write your own paycheck, so to speak.
Yep.
Um, it takes discipline. It takes work, a strong work ethic. It takes accountability and responsibility. So those are really important pillars, I think, to be successful in sales. So I look at that. I mean, those are things that I'm always looking at in terms of in an interview process or in a recruiting effort.
Mm.
And then in addition to that, one thing that we are constantly doing is in terms of like building the team. You asked about building teams. So to me, it's always really important to deliver value to all the people within the organization. Perceived
Yeah.
value, their perceived value, because people perceive value differently, right?
Mm.
And John Maxwell, again, I talk about John Maxwell and Robbins and others, like John. I remember John Maxwell saying this one thing on one of the podcasts or whatever it was, a YouTube channel, special, whatever it was. But he said, intentional value. As a leader, always be intentional about the value that you're delivering and offering to other people. And he's like, and what that means is that when people see you coming, like, hey, here comes Darren. Things are about to get better, right? Darren's on his way. He's coming in the room, man. Things are about to get better. That's intentional value. If you're leading with that and you're delivering intentional value, you know that you're doing that when people see you and they think that things are
Mm.
about to get better. And that's always been like something I focus on and try to lead with intentional value and perceived value. And when we're building a team, we're very conscious of sizing the team to the opportunity that's in the market.
Mm.
Like a lot of people, a lot of organizations in my industry, they'll go out and they'll contract 500 agents in the state of Florida, and all those agents will go out and do 10 apps, and they've got 5,000 apps, right?
Yeah.
um, for me, I would rather recruit 20 agents and help all 20 of those agents do 300 enrollments,
Yeah.
right? And because if I cannot serve 500 agents. I
Mm.
can serve 20, right?
Yeah.
Or one of my leaders they can have a team of 20 and serve them and be available and deliver value to those 20 individuals, but you can't do it with 500. And
No.
and not just that, it's like there are not enough resources to provide 500 people in a small geographic area, but there is enough for 15 or 20. So you have to. For me, it's always been right sizing the team to
Mm.
the opportunity within the market, and that opportunity is the consumers that are available, and then also the resources that we can provide.
Yeah. And then the time you spend with them is another important thing, because ultimately the agents that are out there talking to the consumers are the ones representing the brand and the organization. So what's the reputation that's being either enhanced or potentially diminished, which often is in direct proportion to the amount of time that you can actually be spending with that intentional value being delivered to your team. And it's really hard, as you say, to do that with 500. You can do it with 20. You can do it with 15.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that. So, mate, I'm
Thanks.
conscious you've got another event to get to. Something that's top of mind for you when you look at I guess the state of the world, the state of the states, whether it be this time of year, or are there things happening either at the macro level or at the country level that is either an opportunity but equally a challenge that you're grappling with that people could learn from?
Yeah, so there are, and it's both, right? So there's headwinds within our industry. There are headwinds, right? That we're faced with right now. But with those headwinds, there's opportunities coming with that. And like I mentioned a couple times, I've been doing this for 27 years in terms of the Medicare Advantage space. And in 27 years, there's more volatility within our industry today, right now, today than ever in 27 years. And what I
Yeah.
mean by that is that there are so the last several years, there's been this, for lack of a better word, like arms race, right? There's an arms race between the carriers, like Humana's trying to grab market share, United's trying to grab market share, Aetna's trying to grab market share, and for many years it really was Humana and United, like they were the leaders, they had the largest market share across the nation. But then in the last couple of years, Aetna has grown market share, and they've grown their presence and their footprint, and they've grown market share and invested into their value proposition to consumers in terms of benefit design. And
Yeah.
Anthem has done the same thing, and Anthem has gone out there and acquired a bunch of smaller regional companies. So it's gotten very competitive. So for about 3 or 4 years in a row, after like post COVID, like right after COVID, carriers started to really enhance the value proposition of the benefit design that consumers receive on these Medicare Advantage plans. Well, that comes with a cost, right? I mean, they're giving benefits away, like a $400 a month food card that consumers get, like a little debit card, and they could get groceries and up to $400 a month, and over the counter benefits and transportation. Like these
Yeah.
benefits got so rich, and with that, I mentioned like post COVID, I talked to a lot of provider groups, and one thing that's kind of happened in post COVID is that utilization to consumers going to doctors has increased significantly. Whether that's residual effect of people that had COVID,
Mm.
or side effects from vaccines, like who knows?
Yeah.
But consumers are going to the doctor more frequently than they ever have in the
Mm.
past, and the carriers, the actuaries of the carriers, have not been able um, to forecast that in the right manner. So their costs have gone up. Like they're
Yeah.
losing money now. So as a result of losing money, now they're pulling back on benefits. Now the carriers are also not just pulling back on benefits, but they're, like I mentioned earlier, they have to file their plans every year. So some carriers are discontinuing plans. Like, hey, we have this
Mm.
PPO plan, we have all these great benefits that's available in 2025. It's not going to be available in 2026. So if there's, like in Georgia, in the state of Georgia, there's 150,000 consumers that are losing their plan in 2026.
Oh.
150,000 just in Georgia,
Oh.
and across the nation, it's over a million. A million people on Medicare plans today are losing their plan for 2026. They have to make a change. So
Mm.
there's those headwinds. There's benefits are pulling back, plans are discontinuing, there's disruption, and then in addition to those two things, there's other plans that are being renewed, but the insurance companies, they don't want people on those plans because they're losing money with them, so they're not paying commissions to agents. If you sell that plan, there's no commission to it. But it's like so it's like all of these things are happening at the same time, and like I said, I've never seen it before. And even on the provider side, that value-based care model, which is so important and so critical to consumers, they're losing money too. And a lot of those Oak Street Health, Centerwell, Archwell, like they've been expanding and growing and opening up new clinics across the nation. They're pulling back, they're closing some clinics, they've closed some clinics, they're not, their expansion plans have been pulled back and lessened. So
Mm.
yeah, just it's volatile. It's there's just a lot of challenges, but again, there's opportunity.
Mm.
I think if you understand the market and you understand all the reasons why, like I just shared, like my corporate experience at Humana, I've learned about medical loss ratios and Medicare risk adjustment and those levers that impact revenue, and what benefits do to profits.
Yeah.
And I understand that. And basically, what carriers are doing, it's a reset. They're
Mm.
they're having a reset year, and things are going to change for them and change for consumers. And
Yeah.
it's important to, as an agent in our industry, to align with an organization that understands that and how
Mm.
to navigate it.
Yeah.
And I think we're in a good position to do all those things.
Well, it's the season, isn't it? And as you said before, it's focusing on, well, you need to understand the market, you need to understand what the trends are, but also need to understand what is it that we can do, what is it I can do that I have some control over to not so much remove the risk, but maybe minimize the risk, minimize the exposure, but also continue to add value and be
Absolutely.
of service to others. So, because in any season where there might be some winter, where we're just in survival mode, if we get through that, then we're going to be taking advantage of the spring as we start to grow and evolve again. So, no, that's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
Mate, hey,
Great
this
way to
has
put
been a
that.
this has been a phenomenal conversation. Thank you for jumping on. For people who are wanting to learn more about you and connect with you, learn more about Care Connect, where is the best place for them to do that?
Yes, sir. So, and thank you for asking that. So, careconnectagency.com, all together, careconnectagency.com. Anyone can go there to look at our website. There's about us, there's our products, there's the states that we're in, there's a carrier that we are partnered with, all the carriers that we represent and partner and offer their products for. And there's also a connect with me button. So there's a blue button at the very landing page of our website in the very top. Connect with me. They can they say it's a blue button that says I'm an advisor. Click on that. There's a form to fill out. They can email me directly, or they can just submit the form to our inbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone that wants to connect, we'll share our playbook. We have a really good playbook for navigating this annual enrollment period and for 2026. And we're adding some new, like I mentioned earlier, we're adding some new strategic partners for 2026. We're adding some new products. I've just been learning a lot about Index Universal Life and what a valuable product that is for consumers, really for small business owners. It's a great product. We're adding that product, and we're adding a few others for 2026.
Nice, awesome. I'll put that on the show notes, and encourage people, certainly in North America, who are listening to this, to reach out and learn more about you. So, hey Neil, thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure having you on the podcast, and I wish you all the very best in the rest of this year, but moving into 2026.
Thank you, Darren. It was an honor to be on your show. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you for listening to the Exceptional Sales Leader podcast. I trust the information in this episode has been helpful in your journey towards becoming exceptional. And remember, please take the time to rate the show, subscribe to the show so other people can find it. But also, if I can help you, jump on my calendar, go to leadwithdarren.com, and let's have a conversation about how I can help you along your journey to being exceptional.